Parable of the Lute. Once the Buddha was living on a mountain called Vulture Peak. During this time, the wise Sona lived alone in the cool forest. This thought occurred to Sona.
I am an energetic student of Buddha, yet my mind has not found freedom.
Now, Buddha on the mountain perceived this thought that Sona had and left Vulture Peak. Incredibly quickly, he appeared to Sona in the cool forest and said, Sona, did you just have the thought, I am an energetic student of Buddha, yet my mind has not found freedom?
Yes, Buddha.
Buddha replied, and tell me, Sona, when the strings of your lute were too tight, was then your lute tuneful and easily playable?
Certainly not, Buddha.
And when the strings of the lute were too loose, was then your lute tuneful and easily playable?
Of course not, Buddha.
But Sona, when your lute was not too tight nor too loose, but adjusted to the perfect pitch, did your lute have a wonderful sound and was it easily playable?
Certainly, Buddha.
Similarly, Sona, if energy is applied too strongly, it will lead to restlessness, and if energy is too loose, it will lead to weariness. Therefore, Sona, keep your energy in balance, and balance the spiritual aspects, and in this way, focus your attention.
Yes, Buddha.
Afterwards, Sona kept his energy balanced, balancing his spiritual nature, and in this way focused his attention. Sona, living alone and secluded, diligent and resolute, soon realized here and now his own direct knowledge of the perfect life.
This parable says it all, and it's a great way of understanding your personal energy flow and how it applies to all your life, in all aspects. If you become too relaxed, like a lute string that has not been tuned, and will flow in a state of mental weariness. If you are wound too tight, you become restless and very prone to snapping. You must keep your own bodily systems in harmony with the vibrations of your soul. Consider that everything in the universe is a waveform, a vibration, so the energy in your own body and the focus that you put into things will also either be too loose, too tight, or just right.
This especially applies to everyone who is going to school or at work. If you wind yourself too tight, you will become stressed beyond measure. Then what happens? You go home and unwind and become way too loose. You go back and forth between being too tight and too loose, and very rarely do you tune yourself to that perfect frequency. In today's society, we like to blame the work on making us too tight or the TV that makes us too loose. But the reality is that we are our own tuners, and we have to take responsibility for how we resonate with the world around us. By tuning yourself to the right place, you can be in a perfect, harmonious state all the time, guaranteed.
Namaste, in Lakesh.